So welcome everybody in this unique event. Perhaps it is the first ever online dialogue between two cultural heritage buildings, one in Rhodes in Greece and one in Ostrava in Czechia. And this dialogue is part of an experiment that we do in the Sincere project. It's a Horizon Europe project on cultural heritage buildings, which aims to give a voice to such buildings. And instead of us talking on their behalf, to listen to them, listen to their stories, to their visions, to their knowledge from the past. And this event takes place in the context of the European Heritage Days, whose theme for this year is roots, networks, and connections. And I think our event is very special in that this connection is not done by some sort of walking pilgrimage, as the theme of the event had in mind, but it's done with the help of the digital technology from far. This is our first effort. The voice will be given by Maria, whose title on the Zoom now is Neoclassical School. It's how we call the school in Rhodes. Maria Bakari, and Anna Šmehilová, who will make the voice of the Museum Plus in Ostrava. It's part of the objectives of the project to create actually an online platform. It will be called buildingstories.eu in this address, where buildings from Europe will blog, the old style blog, and then all these voices will be put together in the same platform. And why not organize more of such online gatherings between all these buildings? So our event today, we will surprise you a little bit. We will bring you into the discussion. We rehearsed to make it more like a theater performance, but then we thought that it's not fair to have you like an audience, because actually we liked it when we were doing it. So we want you also to play a little bit the game with us. If you don't want to talk, you can at least listen as a building. So we will invite you to enter this discussion not with your human identity, but with a building that you will choose.
Yes, I'm Maria. I sit just across the sea right now in a building that is very close to the port of Rhodes. But actually, deeper, I am the Neoclassical School.
I'm Anna, and today I will be transferred to the body of blast furnace number 6 in Ostrava.
Hello, my name is Ileana, and I am giving a voice to the School of Architecture in Bucharest, which is 100 years old building.
I am Jakub, and today I will represent the Church of Saint Wenceslaus, which is the old church in Ostrava.
Maybe it will be one of the Center Madrid buildings, like the Metropolitan.
I'm Giacomo. I'm working at Sheffield University. There's a place called San Gimignano, which is famous for its towers. It's sort of the New York of Middle Age. So I should say it's towers, but we're talking about Middle Age towers.
Oh, do you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Stadelfer. I'm by the river. I'm in Swiss Alps. We make cheese sometimes, but it's I'm an old factory, but I'm not a factory anymore. And hi everyone.
Called suspension of disbelief. So for the next 30 minutes, 1 hour, I ask you to suspend your disbelief that buildings can talk. You should believe that they talk. You should believe that you can hear to them. And we will play the game of listening actually to what the buildings are saying and translate to each other what they want to say, but they cannot say. And to enter this world of buildings, we should create some sort of entrance. So we knock the building wall all together. I don't hear you knocking, but I knock, and I put in the stage. Knock, knock. And I put in the stage Anna and Maria to see what they have to say. If when they will meet randomly in this buildings world.
So, hello, I'm blast furnace number 6 from Ostrava, and I'm also speaking for my sister, which is blast furnace number 4, as we have became one entity through the time. My journey began in May 1962, and my sister was born, or as we say, put into operation in June 1975. And since then, we have been an inseparable pair. And I would like to introduce you our brother, our little concrete brother, who was chosen for the sincere project. So this is him. And how about you, Neoclassical School? Are you also multiple or are you single?
Oh, that's very impressive. First of all, let me tell you, you are 3 at least. But we have also an element of multiplicity. We are 12 halls, big teaching halls, which are surrounding a big pine tree in the middle. I can show you. This is the big pine tree in the middle of my courtyard. But to say a few words about who I am, let me tell you that I was also born out of an explosion. So literally out of the ashes. In that sense, we have something in common, which is the fire that somehow brought us into life and purpose. So I was born out of the ashes of the Cathedral of St. John, the patron saint of the Order of Knights that came here in Rhodes. And through that explosion, which was caused by a thunder, the whole area was destroyed. And in the ruins, a new building was born, which was a school founded by 4 Ottoman scholars and dedicated to a noble lady called Atiye. So I would like to invite you to call me by that name, because I feel the honor of being connected with a lady, which obviously is very fond of letters and arts. And so I would like to ask you if you have a favorite name that you would like me to call you, so that we are.
The first thing is that your story is amazing, so long and so interesting. Of course, I have a nickname. You can call me Blasty, which sounds powerful and tough, just like we are, because we are blast furnaces.
Great, Blasty. I was talking about my story, and I would like to show you how actually I look like today in this image of me, in this portrait. How I look today and how I was in the past, initially, as a few years after my founding. And you can see how spacious and how beautiful I am. So tell me more about your story. What happened? How actually were you working? Because I can imagine you being a very, very fiery place, you know, full of action, full of production.
Yeah, we were. We were built to produce iron, and somehow, as you were dedicated to gods, we were dedicated to a modern civilization, because iron is something that formed our civilization, and steel, which is made from iron, is still one of the most construction materials. So this is why our heritage and everything around us is so important. The core of the matter is actually simple, as you asked. We were making iron. It looked like this. Everything was hot and glowing. And by quite simple chemical reactions, we were able to produce something that was extremely precious for everyone.
Wow, that's really exciting.
Yeah, but I think that you also have something to do with iron. Is that right?
Well, here you can see the iron that goes into my foundations again to make me stronger, to make me more resilient. So I'm actually getting this iron power again. And it's a very fascinating phase, but I also feel the value of it, the unshakable power that is really getting again into my roots, which is great.
Yeah, so right now you're going through some restoration, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. A restoration that is very profound, very deep. And for that, I think that it's important to somehow also keep the authenticity of my long past, but also be ready to be equally present and resilient in the now, which I think is the same for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is. As I mentioned, we were brought us to life in 60s and 70s, which was a time when our nation was focused on heavy industry. Back then, we were admired and celebrated, but we also witnessed a transformation of European industry, and in 90s we were retired. And since then, we are empty, and therefore we are now looking for a new purpose, something that will give us a new life.
I can imagine this must have been a really big change and maybe a shock for you. Such a huge and dominant place in the city to be suddenly stopped. I was also suspended some decades ago, a little bit earlier than you, in 1985. In my newest phase, I was a public elementary school, and I have many people, many students that are seeing me here. They pass by and still admire me and have great memories from their student years. But there were some really serious issues of stability at that time that were revealed after some severe weather phenomena. And so I had to stop being functioning as a school, which is also sad.
So,
yeah, are there any hopeful perspectives for you?
yeah, I wanted to ask the same, if you have any possibilities to gain some new function again,
I would really love to be alive again, serving the arts and the letters, and being a very alive learning space, which nowadays can happen in many ways. And I think it can happen in a more open and more dynamic way than it used to be in the past. So I really look forward to that phase gradually as I stand back strong.
That's great to hear. Well, to your question, I also have some plans for renovation, because since the 90s, many debates have taken place whether to preserve us or whether to destroy us. But fortunately, we are now on the verge to become a museum. So we are getting this new purpose and hopefully new life again.
Wow. That's really promising and very exciting. I feel that such places like you, big working spaces, can really offer a lot in the local communities. And actually, here in Rhodes, I have quite a few siblings, brothers and sisters that are like you. There used to be production units of different products, from flour to electricity to soap to wine. And these siblings, these buildings are actually falling apart. They are decaying, and they consist of our heritage, just like I am. So it would be great if we get some inspiration and some learnings from your case, I think.
Yeah, I'll be so happy to be an inspiration for someone. You know, for us, it is really important not to lose our identity. You know, you should be able to look at us and recognize what we used to serve for, that we are blast furnaces. But at the other hand, it is important to have this new purpose, and therefore we have to accept some interventions. And I was wondering how you feel about interventions. How important is for you to keep the original form, and how do you feel about these questions?
Oh, this is a very good question, which takes me back to a meeting that happened back in March last spring. Here you can see the people who came and visited me and were very curious about me. And I hear that there are discussions about how to make this big renovation and what kind of interventions, as you say, can be used. My sense is that I should really keep my character coming from ages ago, from centuries ago, but also integrate some more modern ways, as long as they don't change radically my character. And to be more specific, I think I wouldn't like to have solar panels, for example, on my roof. I don't know if they match with you. How do you feel about them? But in my case, I think people should try to find something else, something more compatible with my identity.
I can totally understand you. our transformation is going to be funded by Just Transition Fund, which has really deep environmental values. And this is why we prioritize sustainability more than it is typical at other heritage buildings. And when you look at us, it looks like we are made for solar energy, because the solar panels can be installed, for example, on this roof or on other parts of the building, and together with other things and other gadgets, it can make a system to serve to the museum's needs and to be more sustainable, which I think is amazing.
Yes, I hear your joy in that perspective. I'm really happy to hear. And yes, a question is how to make all these people that seem to be very interested in us hear our voices and go the way that we want. To respect our choices, our preferences. I think the more we keep this way, we talk in any form, the better it is to reach this aim.
Well, you mentioned the visit from the Sincere project. How did you feel about that?
I was very happy to have all these people in my interior and exterior, and feeling their care and their curiosity about me. But I'm also sort of interested in how all this process follows, what happens next. And yeah, I felt nice to have them around me and to hear about their good intentions in general. I would like to have them closer even, so that they hear me more.
I can completely understand your feelings, because Sincere also visited us this month, and it was really amazing to see everyone in person and to see that life is around again, because we were abandoned for many years. And now we can sense that something is really happening and that positive changes are coming, which is great for us.
Yes, it's very beautiful, I would even say, to feel alive again. And this happens when people come and are in touch with us. In my case, there are many passers-by. I mean, I'm in a very, let's say, touristic spot in the medieval town of Rhodes, as you can see here. So people pass by, they take pictures of me. But I would like to have them inside, you know, not to be just outside and just taking pictures, but more interacting with me. Like now, this is an image from the Sincere visit, and I felt so happy to have so many people around me with care and interest. Yeah.
This is a feeling I share with you, because I'm in an area which is being used. A lot of festivals and concerts is happening here, but I'm somehow in a center, but still abandoned with basically zero attention. And I would like people to be inside and to see me and to see that I somehow exist, not just to take pictures, but to interact with me.
Exactly. I think we both share a history that is very long and fascinating, but we are longing for an equally exciting future, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we also have a lot to say, a lot to pass to other generations, a heritage that we can share with the world.
Exactly. I show you some pictures of me now visited by other beings as well. Animals like cats. Cats really love me. They have their homes in my corners, in many corners of me. This guy from the past also, and yeah, I would just toast in what you just said about a very exciting future with all the requirements that we need for the present, for the past, and for the future. I hope we continue these conversations. Blasti, what do you think?
I hope they're really useful to understand some things and to verbalize them and to stress them also in a project, but also with other people so that they understand what is going on and what are also our needs.
Yes, exactly. And we want them to be close to us as allies rather than, someone we want to persuade for anything. I think we have enough power built over the years to not to ask for attention, to invite people to collaborate with us and hear our voices.
Amazing. Sorry for intervening. I got very carried away. You could talk for hours. I didn't feel any sort of, I don't know, boredom or anything. It was a very interesting discussion. I would like to invite some other buildings if they want to ask you questions, or you raised some very interesting topics around old and the new functions, about preserving of heritage, but also about modern use and sustainability, about people around you. Are there any buildings in our company that want to comment on this? I could bring them in the building stage. Who wants to say something?
The University of Architecture in Bucharest. I was very impressed by your transition, this moment of transition, because I am 100 years old, but I was built to host the School of Architecture, and I'm still visited every day by the students, professors, architects who are formed here, and they come back, and I cannot imagine the how I could deal with the uncertainty of being all of them away, to leave me alone, and then to wait for some decisions from other places, not from the people who are here present and who worked here and who added to my life every day. I cannot imagine who would decide and what for my future life. So thank you very much for sharing this moment with me. And I was projecting if one time will happen that how I could react, because at the moment I'm very happy with the life that I had, and even the architects restored my facade that was damaged by the pollution in the center of Bucharest, and I got a lift up, and I feel young again, although I am 100 years old.
You look very refreshed. I see also our common elements like the roof, the bricks, also the yeah, it seems to be a relationship, a kinship, which I would be very interested to discover.
They designed me in the 1920s in what is called the Romanian, let's say, style that was inspired from Byzantine, Ottoman, and folk architecture. So I am a mix of, but mainly it's a Byzantine style in which they built me. The students appreciate very much the towers and all the different places where they can hide to work late hours at night on their future projects.
Wow.
Any other building that wants to join the discussion?
Yes, actually there is. Hi, Panayotis. Well, I'm the third building of the group of the team here of the sincere buddies. But my name is Holon Institute, and I'm building number 3. And I have to say that I'm very jealous about all you guys getting a lot of attention, people photographing you, because I'm a concrete building. I was designed in the so-called brutalist style, and I have not been yet so appreciated like you. But thanks to the Sincere program, I'm getting some attention, and I hope that also my style will be recognized like yours, and people will come and photograph me.
So the first thing is, hi, welcome between us buildings.
Hello, hello.
I would just like to say that your time is definitely coming. People start to love brutalism. So it's just a matter of few years when there will be many tourists and people photographing you and admiring you. I personally, as Blast Furnace, admire you already now. You look great.
Thank you.
Think,
actually, I like your steel structures. I have a steel roof, which is very problematic, and the program here, all the geniuses came from all over Europe to find a solution so that my roof will be well insulated without destroying its looks. So I hope it works, and I admire your steel structures as well, because we have a lot in common and a lot to talk about.
Thank you.
If I could just add one thing, is I think that our power is in our diversity, being so very different, each one being a unique building, and therefore I would suggest to find that assertiveness in the team spirit and attract more attention and more care for each one of us.
I used to have also a straw hat, but the wooden frames were replaced with metal frames when I was restored 10 years ago. So what can I do? What can we do? We should keep up with the new technologies and with the difficulty to maintain the buildings. I think it's also important. Yes.
I just want to say hello to Blasty, which is a nice nickname, by the way. And as I told you at the beginning, I am the church, the Saint Wenceslaus church in Ostrava. And actually, I knew your great-grandmother, Blasty, and I was the place where the festivity was launched at the day your great-grandmother started operation in 1830 on September 16th. Like a lot of people gathered in me. The priest celebrated the Holy Mass, and then they all walked to you or to your great-grandmother, and they ignited the blast furnace for the first time in Ostrava. It will be soon 200 years. And I remember all of this because I am very, very old, much older than you, Blasty.
This is touching my heart so much, as I didn't met her. I never met her, but I would like to hear about her so much. Thank you for sharing this with me.
She was nice.
Maria, there was, no, sorry, Antije, there was also some church in the past before.
Yeah, I was exactly thinking of that in my foundations is a church. And thanks to an excavation that happened after the blast, the consecutive blasts, we have found some parts of the church, like the sacred front part, and there are also some tombs of magisters that used to be buried in the Church of St. John foundations. And generally, I think that this ground of mine is sacred in a way from the ancient times, because allegedly where foundations are, there used to be Colossus, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and a very big symbol for peace and brother or sisterhood. And so I feel this connection with sacred spaces. It's very present even today. You can see some of these elements if they are visible today.
While I was listening to all of you, and because I am also next to a kinder, how can imagine some sort of a community of buildings of learning like you, and what you can exchange? I mean, what type of experiences you could share?
If I can share my experience as a building that is not so appreciated, because as I said, I mean, I'm a brutalist style, and new buildings want to see more slim structural elements. They want to see more glass on the facade. So, you know, we're a little outdated and we're not so, let's say, sexy for what architects are looking for today. And a lot of my friends have been demolished for new buildings to go up. And but if we look at the sustainability aspects of my existence, it's better to keep me and restore me and make me more energy efficient than demolish me and build a new one. And now with solutions that the Sincere program is proposing to also strengthen me without big interventions, then of course they can also add floors if they need, so I can still be around for many years, like my friends in Rhodes and my friends in Romania and my friends in Ostrava, and I hope you know, to grow up to be like you guys.
Any other comments?
We are more fragile and vulnerable than we seem, being built in concrete or stone, but we are strong.
What I can also say is that I realized that, for example, I collapsed because of weather conditions in both cases. Like when the Church of St. John exploded was because it was hit by a thunder. The church bell, which contained the gas power, and then it went up. And then again back in the 1878, there was severe weather phenomena that caused again the collapse. So we would really feel the need to be strong again and resilient to all this climate crisis that we are in, with the floodings, the severe heat. I feel that that's really important, so we could possibly be symbols of that resilience. People feel also protected in our spaces. Of course, I don't know how this can happen, but that's the job of the experts, of the architects. as long as they also respect our history. I think that's also important. It's a challenge, isn't it? How to integrate these modern technologies with the old wisdom that we carry as heritage buildings.
Talking about resilience, Museum Plus was flooded recently. The flood reached you. What happened?
No, we weren't flooded, luckily, but our city was damaged a lot, and of course we can see that the climate change is getting more and more extreme, and that we all should somehow be aware of it and help to spread these thoughts, to make people aware of it and to change it, not to get these things worse.
Jakub, maybe you want to say the last word of this session? What is in your mind as a church? You come from even more in the past, where learning was happening through religion, or can God save us from climate change?
Yeah, definitely. This is my final word. Trust in God and spread peace.
Cool. Okay. So we can knock and exit the building world. Elias, you were not here because we did the ritual of entering the world of buildings, and now we can exit. And I will remove you from the spotlight to bring everybody in the discussion. I have to congratulate you. I was very impressed. I didn't expect such a good performance of building personification. It was a very encouraging experiment for me. So I start my feedback, and I would like to ask also people that were more into the audience position if they have some comments, if they enjoyed it, if they found it interesting. Is an experiment that it's worth further developing. Anybody wants to say something?
Like, I really like this metaphor of two sisters and little brother, and the nickname Blasty is perfect. And I imagined some theater or dance taking place in the blast furnace. I think it could be a good idea for us, Anna, to have something like that over there.
Mm-hmm. Anna, how did you feel as a building? What is your own experience trying to do this?
Well, at the beginning, it was extremely hard to feel as the building, because this was really strange and new. But as we went through the process, I started to understand that this is important also for me, as we should find the new use for the blast furnaces, and as we should build the museum there, it is important to understand also to the building itself. So this was really extremely important experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Maria, since you were the second prepared author, actor.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much to have this conversation. It was very playful. Initially I was a little bit nervous as well, because, what is the real voice of this building? What is the voice of this building, and how we can approach it? It's a big question, and I think we're giving just one answer right now. Okay, we're compromising in a way. but it's really an exciting question, and it feels really good to explore this way. And as I heard Jacob and Anna right now, it seems that it provokes some more artistic expressions in as you go. So first you play the voice of the building, and then you feel the theater getting alive in the space, and music maybe, and what else? I mean, it's really opening. I think it's opening the space for a multiple interaction with the buildings, which is really exciting.
Before going to the others, perhaps Thalia, that opened your camera, you can say something, or some other people, you can
Yes,
open your.
I had hello everyone. I joined as an audience, but actually while you were talking, I found my building to cast, but still I missed the okay, let you go along. But what I wanted to observe was that I'm pretty rational, and I was like listening to a conversation between two people that were arguing on why reserving a building could be important. I could simulate the conversation with two peoples, and as Maria says, it's a very when a person talks on behalf of a building, it's clearly a person's perspective that's not fair in one hand. But what I wanted to say is that just the first person in the conversation really changed radically my interest and the way I was listening to it. And I was really shocked because really the lyrics, let's say the words were like would be in a conversation between two people, this why is this interesting, what we can do, arguing. But the fact of using the first person and the speech changed the whole concept. It was really shocking, actually, and good thing, let's say. And I was provoked. I hadn't any intention about this. I just wanted to listen, and I was listening. I was looking for the photos of my castle to come into the conversation with the young fellows there that are talking.
Yes, I mean, this is why I said, and then I realized that it was a negative sentence. I said, when we stopped, I said I was not bored. I had the same feeling with Thalia, that I was somehow expecting to be a little bored by a discussion of this, but it was a reverse feeling of being extra attentive because of this first person. For me, it was like also a surprise I mean, it's some sort of cognitive algorithm. When
Twist.
you hear something else talking, maybe you are more, I don't know, from childhood with the cartoons. I don't know. It is an interesting, Ilias?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think many thoughts come to mind. One is what exactly you're saying, that when you listen to people acting buildings, it's almost like people acting theater, and so you're more attentive to see where they're taking it and how, and yes, and how they can represent actually the building the way that you think the building should be represented. It becomes very mixed, because since it's people and not the actual building talking, then your thoughts are entering also the expectations of the speaker who speaks about the building. So in a way, there's an interesting empathy with the building in a way, and an interesting identity with the building, and an interesting ownership of the building. Who really owns the voice of the building? There's a big question there. Who really owns the voice of the building? And so I think I really enjoyed it, and also, I mean, entering the conversation also, makes it very exciting because because I've done a lot of research about the building, and I've worked about the building, in terms of energy performance and all that. And, you have all the numbers in your mind, but then when you actually want to speak about the building doesn't care about all the numbers. It really, you really have to understand what the building wants. There was an architect, Louis Kahn, who used to say, what does a building want to be? What does the material want to be? The brick, what does the brick want to be? So it's fascinating to take this role and represent something, an object, and something that you identify with or you're so close to. I think it's really fascinating. So thanks, Panayotis. Really, it was quite an experience.
I didn't do any. I mean, Ileana, you also felt some sort of privilege. I mean, there is a double thing. I mean, in one hand, you could feel privileged to give this voice, but then this privilege turns into, a responsibility and insecurity. I'm good enough to have this absolute power of talking about all these years of history. Did you feel this type of responsibility when you were talking?
Not at all. And when we were talking about schools before, I was thinking that what changed is also that more women are students or pupils or in schools and so on. So I think we get closer to this God of Jakub also by this more, let's say, nurturing perspective that women bring. But I feel privileged for the two pilot, let's say, buildings in the Sincere project, because it is really, I think, from the perspective of the University of Architecture, it is it's a big opportunity. It's an opening. Because yesterday I went online to see what people are saying about me, the University of Architecture. And there is a lot actually about the function and the users of the school, and very little about the building. And you are both the Neoclassical school and the Blasti. You are in a moment of transition, but when really the building is in focus. And I think this is a very special moment. So yes, this is what I learned yesterday, that searching a lot about the building, I keep ending up about the university and how it's structured and the students and all that. So the function takes over a lot. Yes, so there are different voices, of course, inside, and once the building loses its main functions or so, it's like who talks for it, but that's also where the opportunities lie, I think.
Jakub, you had any self-reflection about acting as a building? You answered also very well in our small video teaser about the Blasti being female. How do you feel being asked these questions and being asked to play this role?
I haven't reflected this. It's kind of play. It's fun. Yeah, and it, as Anna told, it helps you to understand, or like to try to understand the building from different perspective, which you are not used to. And as I'm a historian, so I like this playful insights because it helps you to understand your stuff from different perspective, really. And actually, I think we can continue on this with Anna and colleagues in our case in the museum. As Anna told, actually, you spoke for myself because I think for our visitors, for let's say ordinary people who are not academics or like historians or industrial heritage experts, it can be the way how to get closer to what they see, because we see history, facts, dates, and so on, and this personification is helpful somehow. Yeah.
Yes, so, for me, there are two things. I mean, for me, personification is a powerful communication mode. How Thalia said that it creates attention, and you can communicate things that we know already, but in a more powerful way. And a little bit further, for me, it's a question if it can bring new things. I mean, changing the perspective. It's a question we don't know yet, where we can discover new things by, taking this perspective that were hidden somehow from our human point of view. This is an open question. And of course, another question is the language. I would be curious how such an event would look if you had many buildings in Ostrava or in Czechia that would talk. Maybe it would be even more intense. Now we had this fake language somehow. I mean, the school cannot talk English, so it is, of course, maybe being
How
a
do you
school,
know?
I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah. And I don't know if buildings can smoke. Thalias. Yes, I don't know. I mean, it's a very from this experience myself, I am motivated to do more, both on this live setting, but also more asynchronously through text that we can collect and have the buildings exchange, and maybe with the translation online, it can be more multilingual.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. For Rhodes, are you thinking of something similar for Rhodes in October?
Similar, what do you mean? Event?
Similar discussion of the
Yeah.
building.
What we want to do now, I mean, informative about the evolution, is to really go deep onto the site and exchange with artists and try to multiply the ways that buildings can talk. This is the more obvious with a human language, but they can. I know Thalia, that she's a sound engineer, and we have been discussing about putting soundscapes around a building, or you could create other formats like, I don't know, video or I don't know, virtual reality, different, it's infinite. Whenever we meet with people, every time somebody tells me another idea of how a building could talk. So this is one direction. And in Rhodes, we would like to invite artists to give ideas and discuss exactly the way we talk. And then the way would also influence the content and so on. For me, it's very interesting if this experience, because of this feeling of privilege, if we could make this process more collective. And this is very interesting how a collective performs when they are asked as a group to give a voice. And then this is an interesting participatory process that could reveal different things than another form of classic process where people vote for actions or for designs. Voting or
Maybe if
debating
you-
about speeds of a building, it could reveal interesting things.
Panayotis, maybe if you have more people speak about one building, maybe then you assign them, each person have a different area of the building. One will speak about the roof, one will be the windows, the other could be the nice area portico entrance, and they can all, then interact.
Or ages in the past, in the future.
Yeah, layers, historic
Exactly.
layers.
Yes.
Interesting.
Great. Thank you very much.
What I would like to add is that I was very impressed by the playfulness of everyone. So it was really enjoyable this hour.
So thank you. Ευχαριστούμε. Maybe you can say goodbye in your own language, although we are many Greeks here. I learned thank you in Czech. Dekujim. Correct, dekujim.
Nice.
Perfect.
Ciao.
Nice.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Mějte se krásně. Nashledanou.
Arrivedere.
Kaleme.
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 Bye.